thank you, everybody, for attending our webcast today. So I'd like to introduce myself again, Stephanie Benedetto, Director of Product Marketing for Office Shipping here at Pitney Bowes. And I'd like to welcome you again to our webcast titled Becoming Ascending Genius. As you walk away from this webinar, you will walk away with a host of valuable information on how to achieve complete control, visibility, and savings enterprise-wide in your organization. And now I would like to introduce our presenter, Tom Hazel. Tom Hazel is our Director of Carrier Management Solutions here at Pitney Bowes. Tom has had a host of roles within the organization. He has been with Pitney Bowes for over 30 years. So he is indeed our veteran expert in sending and receiving. Tom also sits on several postal, education, and development and directional committees within the organization, as well as he conducts client educational webinars, such as the one today, throughout the year on behalf of Pitney Bowes. Tom is one of the country's first certified postal package consultants with Pitney Bowes, and he brings much value and depth and breadth of information, where I'm sure you'll be walking away with valuable insights after he presents. Thank you, Tom. Now, over to you.
All right. So, Regina, you've handed me the ball, right? We're good to go. There we go. So, ALA members, thanks again. This is, I think, my fourth or fifth opportunity to present to this group, which I greatly appreciate, and I really appreciate our relationship overall. So today we're going to really direct our conversation around, what's going on in the carrier world, but also what's going on in your world. So we're very cognizant at Pitney Bowes the opportunities around, the legal world today. It's a very mobile, agile community as we see it today, and as you well recognize yourselves, many locations to oversee, from mail centers to the office to satellite location, remote employees. So maintaining cost controls in that environment really can be a very difficult thing overall. So in the mail center world, you have manual, invoice tracking using multiple systems to process packages and letters. In-office employees manually doing return receipt for the U.S. Postal Service, certified return receipt mail. You have opportunities where you don't have really an opportunity to really look at the cost versus convenience and lack of business rules around sending overall. And then remote employees, obviously challenges around client matter codes perhaps. Again, the attention to cost versus convenience and business rules as far as that's concerned. And then with multiple locations, we really do see a lot of different processes and different systems within individual legal firms across the country, whether it's a one-site location or multiple site locations. We've worked with them all at Pitney Bowes. I've been very blessed to work with many of the law firms out there today. So in that, there's many different outside factors that really impair the cost control. Many different systems are in use. Meter vendors, online systems, carrier-provided systems, creating data silos throughout the organization. And most companies and organizations today overall, not just the legal world, but overall, really enlist a multiple carrier solution as far as looking at who they're going to choose from a carrier perspective, whether it's UPS and U.S. Postal Service or USPS and FedEx, or maybe a combination of all three. And then you get involved occasionally as well with international, with DHL. Regional carriers like Lone Star Logistics, Eastern Connection, OnTrack, Speedy, and even Deliv, which is a same-day carrier that's coming into play now as we see. It's basically the Uber for packages, if you will. So they're in 55 major metropolitans and growing, easy for me to say. At the same time, you have different meter lease obligations out there, small meters, large meters, and things like that. While this is all going on, the carriers don't stand still. They're constantly increasing and changing rules and regs and rates around their cost structure. And on the bottom right-hand panel, you see the increases over the last 10 years. We don't have 2018 yet, but we'll have it next year for our next webinar, hopefully, right? So that's pretty significant cost increases from the carriers and the services that they offer overall. As compared, the inflation rate, as reported by the U.S. government, was just under 19% for the same exact time period. So go figure, pretty big difference. So when you look at some of the fees and the costs associated with the carriers, most folks are not really understanding some of these fees overall. So FedEx, UPS, they do charge additional residential delivery surcharges, $4.15 and $3.60. But sometimes you have delivery area surcharges on top of that, meaning it's rural residential. That's another $4 or $3.50. And then there's extended residential surcharges that come into play as well, $4.40 and $4.35. So those are additional fees on top of the base costs, negotiated or otherwise overall. And then fuel. So the fuel surcharges are approximately 5.25% for FedEx and approximately 6% of cost for UPS. So that's 5.25 and 6% of the base price of the transaction, if you will. So the base price times that percentage equals your fuel surcharge. And then address correction delivery fees are just on the rise. It's amazing, these numbers. So per incident with FedEx, it's $15. For UPS, it's $15.90 this year. So both of them had a pretty hefty increase over 2017. And then dimensional rating now applies to all packages where you're not using the carrier's own packaging. So from zones 1 to 8, there is dimensional rating. For the post office, they don't dimensionalize from zones 1 to 4 at all. That's what that's indicating there. And then tracking, all the carriers provide that. The ounce opportunity is a strong one, which we'll talk about later. But some of these surcharges are really unknown to most folks in the industry today, in your market space of the legal industry. So really wanted to bring this forward so there's understanding of some of those costs. Now, dimensional rating is something that it was introduced in 2015. And again, if it's not in their packaging, whether it's an overnight, a 2-day, a 3-day, or ground package, all packages from 6 inches by 6 inches by 6 inches in total are susceptible to the dimensional rating factor. So they essentially take the width, length, and girth, 10 by 10 by 10 in this case, and they multiply it out. That's 1,000 cubed. They divide it by their rate of 139, and that brings you to the new pound rate. So a 2-pound Zone 2 package, as pictured here, goes from 836 to 991, based on dimensions alone. Then you add in a residential surcharge, delivery area, and the ground fuel surcharge. And we show you this because a lot of folks think when using Campus Ship and World Ship and utilizing FedEx Server and so forth, that the package is going out at $836 when the package, in fact, is costing $1882 when the bill arrives. These are the reasons behind it. These surcharges apply to both carriers overall, right? So it happens with both carriers, as you see here. As a comparison to the postal side of the business, and we're carrier agnostic. We really don't care what carrier you use. We're just trying to show you the best way to do things. If you save that same package, Priority Mail, it's going to cost you $7.10 all the way through. So there's no fuel, there's no delivery area, there's no residential, and obviously they're dimensionalizing only above 12 by 12 by 12, but since it's Zone 2, they don't dimensionalize at all. So we show you this because this does become complex when dealing with the carriers. It is challenging to understand their costs and fees overall. There was a recent increase we'd like to talk to you about, too. UPS announced a mid-year increase, which was effective June 4th. So it's called an audit fee. So what it means is for every and all shipping charge correction they make, they charge an additional fee on top of the correction. So what some of the corrections are. So if you forget to put in the dimensions or they're incorrect and they have to redimensionalize, it would apply to the surcharge of audit fee. Missing packing dimensions outright, fee. Incorrect weight or no weigh at all, obviously there would be a fee there as well. And incorrect address, so any address correction. So how it works is this. This applies wherever the average shipping charge correction in an invoice for 1 week is more than $5. So an address correction right there and then, you've qualified for the additional fee. So what's the fee? The fee is either whatever is greater. It's $1 per adjusted package or 6% of the adjusted revenue for the invoice week. So this is a pretty serious change for UPS. As it stands now, FedEx has not followed suit, nor have they replied that they would. But this is something that obviously may catch folks off guard in a mid-year situation from a cost perspective. So we wanted to make sure we got that out there in front of everyone. So the other piece is when you're using multiple systems, you really have disparate opportunities as far as compliance risk, limiting your efficiencies, and driving up cost overall. Whether it's FedEx and UPS, U.S. Postal, regionals, and so forth, I mean, all of it obviously provides opportunities. So, compliance risk can be defined in a couple different ways. So one is just, not managing return receipts, certified return receipts properly. I could get a return receipt back, open my desk drawer, and I put it in my desk drawer. Stephanie gets it back, and she staples it to the client's folder. Regina gets it back, and she scans the front, scans the back, and puts it in a file folder on her desk called green cards. The challenge is we all work for the same company. And the reason you're sending a green card is that it may, it's obviously required, and it could be required in the court of law. So that compliance issue can be pretty risky when it comes to green cards. So we have ways of getting around that. And then obviously, utilizing multiple systems in different carriers, people tend to forget how to use one system over another. They may not use the carrier of choice. By that, I mean, maybe you negotiated with UPS and FedEx and decided that UPS was the carrier of choice and they were going to get your contract, but other sites continue to use FedEx. So I've seen that happen more times than one. And obviously, driving up manual labor and errors around manual labor is something that happens when you're trying to capture shipping costs and mailing costs to bill it from a client matter perspective. I mean, if you're billing directly off the carrier bills on a weekly basis, you have a couple of things going on. One is you have a delay of a week in billing. Two is you have somebody sitting there with UPS bills from how many locations you manage, manually keying that into systems to bill back clients. Obviously, there's an error opportunity, and obviously there's a lot of time that's done around that piece. And obviously, you have a lack of visibility. Because reconciliation on the billing, you think the package went out at $8.36, but the bill says $19.20, so you have some reconciliation opportunities there. And obviously, in the end, with so many different systems, there's missed opportunities to reduce cost and save. Now, in your industry, client matter billing is the case, right? But I think all of us know there's a house account and an orphan account in every law firm, somewhere you don't want to put costs, but evidently, things end up in that world. So, missed opportunities to save necessarily doesn't always apply to your clients themselves. It could apply to the firm as well. And by that, I'm meaning that if you have multiple systems, folks really don't have the time of day to look in the FedEx system, look at the rate, look in the UPS system, look in the rate. And by the way, the rate's not accurate because all the costs aren't there in those systems. You don't have fuel, you don't have delivery area surcharges, and all that's not listed. And obviously, you've built data silos. So you have inability to harness your costs throughout the organization and enterprise, which may impede your ability to negotiate with the carriers as well. And then last but not least around the missed opportunity is, inability to mandate business rules to ensure employees do the right thing from a standpoint of choice of carriers, that you're not using exorbitant 8:30 a.m. delivery services, Saturday delivery services, things of that nature that can be very costly to the firm overall, when in fact, getting the package there at 10:30 is just Jim dandy and fine as well. So those are the things that kind of crop up there. The other piece was that there used to be a postage meter discount for priority mail, first-class parcel, and the like with the Postal Service. And in 2015, they did away with a discount because they needed clients to utilize the Intelligent Mail Package barcode label, which I'll demonstrate with the product. And the benefit of that is it provides full end-to-end tracking just like UPS and just like FedEx. So you get complete end-to-end tracking of the package online. You'll see where it's at in the mail stream, and obviously you can confirm delivery of the package as well. But to get folks there has to be an enticement from the Postal Service. It's reducing the rates to get you in the right position. And when you look at the rates in the retail side, which is what you pay in the postage meter or what you paid if you walked in the post office, in the flat rate world, it's not dramatic. $6.70 versus $6.35, $7 versus $6.65. But once you start getting into weights, like a 4-pound package going in New York to New York, retail's $8.50. when you look at Commercial Plus rates that are available, is 709. So real savings. So the savings range from anywhere from 5 to 48% overall when sending packages through the Postal Service. So that's something firms definitely want to get back involved with and take advantage of as well. So looking at return receipt, I mean, it's 2018, right? And here we are using a 1940s method of making sure somebody signs for a letter. So essentially, and you're all well aware, I'm sure, you fill out the front, you fill out the back, take a little piece of sticker off of here, apply it to the green card, and then put this on the top of the envelope and this on the back of the envelope. And then you wait patiently for the post office to bring back the green card over here, right? So when it comes back is where the handling really tends to be a miss, and not on purpose. You know, folks think they're very efficient by keeping it in their desk drawer. Others think it's more efficient to scan front, scan back. Other folks think it's more efficient to put it in the file folder. But we all know that there could be access needed by many different offices for that that green card, so electronic would make a lot more sense. So we can get involved with that piece as well. So with Pitney Bowes, we like to look at all of the client challenges, and we spent 2016, 2017 spending a lot of time with our customer base in the legal community, higher education, government, healthcare, really understanding the challenges around carrier management, return receipt management, and even stamps or postage management overall. So what we developed is a product called SendPro Enterprise. So SendPro Enterprise allows you to streamline all your shipping and even PC postage opportunities into one single process, into one single solution. It is a cloud-based solution. So it consolidates all that to provide something very important for most organizations of your type, and that's visibility and control of the expense overall. So this one single platform will print USPS first-class stamps, but also print UPS, FedEx, DHL, postal labels as well with one interface. It'll provide a simple multi-carrier rate shopping, which allows and ensures your employee make the more informed decisions for your bottom line when they send on behalf of the client or for the law firm itself. You know, being at this for 34 years, it's funny saying at this point, Stephanie. It's been a while, been a ride. So being at it, I really have talked to organizations of all types and all sizes over the last 34 years with Pitney Bowes, and I'm convinced that employees don't want to make bad decisions in spending their firm's money erroneously. They don't want to just spend at will. They realize it's a bottom line item. Any cost is an operating expense. It's just that they don't have the tools to do it, and that's where this product really shines, and I'll show you that. It does automate and standardize return receipt. It puts it in an electronic return receipt world. So it standardizes the process. It allows that everybody does it the same way as far as the return receipts coming back to the organization. It provides very simple workflows and processes, eliminating the handwriting and so forth. So very beneficial there. And it also captures meter spend. So you can capture your meter spend and your package and stamp spend in one simple user interface. So this does talk to the Pitney Bowes postage meters as well that are out there. It will capture and standardize all workflows across the entire organization for all users of all types at all locations. And it provides something really critical, dashboard analytics, reporting activity and spend by location, by client matter number, by user, by carrier, and providing access to individual sending habits, if you will, or spending habits, if you will, too. You can even drill down to individual users in the application and see what services they're using and who they're actually sending to. So it does provide audit control around that piece as well. It is cloud-based. And it allows for several different software as a service, if you will. It also allows for several different authentication methods to utilize the system and access it via the internet. Single sign-on, we are finding, is a item that a lot of folks are highly interested in because it uses your secure systems to access this product as well. So this is all in one solution. So it's Pitney Bowes providing the stamp printing capability, the carrier management capability, the e-return receipt capability, the accounting and client matter cost chargeback capability, all within one platform powered by Pitney Bowes. So with that, the whole opportunity is really to help you and your organization ensure your employees make the smart and therefore compliant choice every time they send, no matter what they send overall. So we'd like to take you live into the application. I'll pause here for a second. Let me jump into the application while I do that. Okay, so accessing the application is quite simple. It's via the internet. So Internet Explorer, 11 on up, Google, Google Chrome, Safari, Firefox, pretty much any browser on earth, and the view is the same no matter the browser. So I've already signed in, so this is our landing page. So from here, I have several different choices as a user, and you can choose to expose these choices to your users or not, by the way. So there is customization. So if stamps printing is not something important to your organization, you may not provide stamps printing. Up to you completely, but it can do it. So if I want to ship a package, I just select ship a package, and it'll bring me to a simple landing page, which allows me to choose my address or type in my address, and then obviously rate shop amongst all the carriers within the application's access. So the send from or ship from is your information of your individual users. So in this case, Tom Hazel, Pitney Bowes, Boston, Massachusetts, you see my information right there. And then from a standpoint of send to, there's a couple of different ways to do it. I can just simply type the address information, copy paste the address information, but there is also a full address book that's available to your organization. So from here, I can search addresses as well as I wish. From here, I also can do my import of address information. So we can initially set it up, if you wish, for a global address book. But if you want to maintain, and you likely do, your own address books, you can simply import your own address books into the application. So right here, you have three methods: Google Contacts, Dropbox, and CSV. So in CSV, it's Excel, right? So simply browse the file, and we give you the file format layout, select the file, and then import it. So you can import a file in 4 different ways. It has 4 different address books available. So you can do a personal address book, meaning just Regina or Stephanie's address book, a location address book, Philadelphia location, Newark location, Georgia location, a global address book available to the entire organization as well, a departmental address book within New York. So New York has several different departments, so you can have departmental address book. And also can do bulk lists. So bulk lists can be used and very beneficial if you need to send out return receipts to many different individuals within a client matter case situation, or send out many priority mail or UPS or FedEx packages to many different people of the same type. So that's what bulk lists would do for you. Additionally, it does allow you to import your address books out of FedEx and then import them directly in. So it's got a FedEx import. It's also got a UPS import. And then last but not least, it has an Outlook import as well. So pretty simple on the import side of the business, but that's where you get your address book information. So from here, if I want to select an address, I'll just select Richard Nygus at Nygus Electronics. So you'll notice I'm not only bringing the address in, but it has capability to also bring with the address book the phone number and an email address. So the email address allows that the system can send an email to Richard letting him know a package is being shipped to him, and here's the full tracking information, including a URL link to the carrier that was chosen when you did the transaction. It does have address validation, very, very critical at $15 and $15.90 that the address correction be correct. So it does a internet services call, so there's nothing for you to maintain, and it corrects the address information and allows you to update the address. It also understands residential delivery. Remember the earlier surcharges. It understands residential delivery versus commercial delivery, so it rates accordingly. So right here is your accounting. So obviously it would say client matter. So if I put my client matter number into the system will allow me to progress if it's an accurate number. And yes, it's a validated account number. So if I put in an erroneous number, the system will not let a progression. You have red, you cannot go forward. So it does have validated client matter accounting within the application. Also, you have several reference fields to choose from if you want to put any other references in the application. Completely up to you. Obviously, you capture the weight in the application and also can capture dimensions in the application as well. So dimensional rating, as I indicated, can be very critical and very important. So you need to obviously understand your proper dimensions when you utilize the system. So from here, I have also other opportunities here in delivery confirmation and looking at opportunities from carton selection, delivery shipping notes, and contents description. So there's a plethora, literally, of information available as far as that's concerned. And now I can just simply rate the package at this point in time, and then we can rate against the carriers. So what it does is it uses your account number with the carrier, and it brings in your negotiated rates with the carrier. So here you see several choices. You see the carrier on the left. You see the type of service. You see the packaging type. You see whether it's guaranteed or not. You see date of delivery. You can see end of day and time of deliveries. You see that. And then you see the pricing, the cost from the carriers. This cost is inclusive of all accessorials, residential, delivery area, fuel, whatever have you. If you want a certain deliver by date, you can select a certain deliver by date. So if you need it there by tomorrow, there are your choices as far as costs are concerned. And obviously, these would be your rates. You know, it's completely up to you how you want to deliver. You want it there by Friday or, you know, the 13th, for instance, which is, Saturday. You can look at it from that perspective as well. So you can choose when you want things delivered in the application as well. A lot of folks like this view, but they also like this view. So this view will show you a calendar view, and you have a choice of which view you want to use. So today's 10/10 of October, and then you see here if I want it delivered tomorrow, and we're going from Boston to Kennett Square, Pennsylvania, mushroom country as it is. Now you see here you have UPS next day, and it's $49.11. So you have an opportunity. They don't deliver at 8:30 a.m. in that area. So now the system knows the carrier's opportunities as far as when they will deliver the packages. So you'll see that. So down here, you see Next Day Air Saver, which is $7, just under $7 cheaper, about $6.80 cheaper. So when we talk about the carrier helping you reduce costs, this is a perfect example of that. And then you see here your FedEx rates. As well. Anytime you see +1, that means there's a higher rate sitting underneath, right? So there's another end of day opportunity there. And then say, for instance, and this comes up a lot in your world, you see that, okay, I need it there by Friday. If you're using a UPS or FedEx system, you're likely going to select a 2-day service. So Friday 2-day service is $24.37. In the case of FedEx, $24.03. But look, FedEx Ground will be delivered Friday at $12.76. FedEx Home Delivery, remember this is a home residential address, $12.71. So it does list the least cost alternatives, giving your employees the knowledge and the power to reduce the cost and ship efficiently overall. So if it is a priority mail package, it'll generate a priority mail label with including full postage. If it's FedEx, it'll generate a FedEx label, UPS label, and so forth. So what we'll do is select a USPS priority mail. So in this case, if you have an office that they want to send from their desktop, they don't even have to go to the mail center at this point. The system will generate a priority mail label, print to plain paper, or print to a printer, up to you completely, that is fully posted. It's voided as you see in the screen here. This is giving you commercial plus rates, 2-day priority mail, full tracking. You have your to and your from, and then estimated delivery date is indicated right there on the label, which would be the 12th overall. So very quick, very efficient, looking at all the carrier opportunity, looking at the least cost opportunity from a standpoint of sending something and giving you the least cost alternative. So that's package sending, if you will. But say, for instance, you're a small office without a postage meter and you've been buying stamps retail. It has a stamp printing app in the application. So you simply, in the stamp sheet world, you type in a serial number off the stamp sheet, and the system will say, okay, I got a full sheet of stamps available to me. If I put a stamp sheet in that I've used before, it knows that and knows how many stamps I have left. So in this case, I only can print 5 stamps in the application. So if I want to print 4 stamps and I want to put my client matter number into the system, client matter will be now charged back and accounted for within the application. So right here, I can rate with this application quickly and efficiently. You'll notice I'm getting a 47-cent rate. So you're getting the 3-cent discount as if you metered it. You then would just load the stamp sheet into your printer, and it is an adhesive label, and it'll print that postage directly on the stamp sheets for you. So pretty straightforward, pretty simple, and very efficient. So there you are, you have your postage stamp printing as well in the application. But from here, say you wanted to do a return receipt electronically. So return receipt electronic can be done in 3 different methods within this application. And you may say, well, why 3 methods, Tom Pitney Bowes? Why would you do that? We do that providing great flexibility around your organization's workflows. So you'll see you have 3 separate methods. You have the ability to print a cover letter, which is the cover letter with the barcode on it, your return address on it, depending on the person's location, the destination address, and the envelope itself, available in 4 different sizes, already has the certified mail across the top in green bar and the double windows. You can also use a pre-printed label. So just to adhere the label to the envelope, if you see down here, select your address, and then obviously scan or type in the tracking number, and you're good to go. And the system also can generate a label. So in the electronic return receipt world for the post office, it's quite a different world. So using the methods I'll show you in a second, you simply meter it to the discounted rate, which we'll talk about in a second, drop it in the mailbox, and the post office gets the signature on their devices. In case of device failure, they still carry the cards. Go figure, have to have a backup. So instead of getting the green card back, you get electronic PDF back with the embedded signature and all the client information. So it's a PDF document, meaning it's already digitized and available to anybody who has access to the application. So in a double window world, this is the finished mail piece. And like I said, the envelope's available in 4 different sizes, as you see down there below. So let's take a look at how easy it is to do it within the application. So from here, I simply use the same exact address book. So I can select my address here. Well, this time we'll go to Ohio in this case. And I can validate the address information, although it's not necessary. I can validate address information. You see here I'm defaulting to a 6x9 envelope. But if I'm a user who always uses number 10s, I can just change it to number 10 and then update my default. So every time I come in, it's landing on the number 10 envelope. So from a reference standpoint, you may want to put a client matter number, CLM 12345. So the benefit there is the client matter number will end up to be searchable in the application. You can do the same thing for a package as well. Just can't do it for stamps because there's no address affiliation, to be clear. So that reference field now is searchable in the app. So if you wanted to view a return receipt, you can look it up by that number or the name of the recipient, John DeLong, or whoever sent it, when they send it. You have several different ways of doing it. So I have a client matter number 1234. I have my number 10 I'm utilizing here. So I just hit print, and the system will automatically generate the cover letter out of the application. So it'll have the barcode on it, the address information on it, just as you see here, coming out of your standard printer. So you see return address, destination address, and then it's generating the article number and all that information as well. So it has that available. If in the fact you want to use the pre-printed label, we'll go to Indiana this time. We'll move around the country. So if I want to use a pre-printed label, it just opens up a box saying type in or scan in that number, and then I print and process. So pretty straightforward there. If I want to do a label and print a label, it's just simply printing a label out of the application as well. And then last but not least, you can do a ship request. So ship request allows that maybe the desktop you want the mail center to complete the piece and apply the label. It can be done that way as well. So instead of printing a cover letter, it actually prints a request form. So the form, simply put, allows that the mail center has the same application. They simply scan this form's barcode, and it automatically populates the system to do a return receipt on their side. The same can be done for sending packages where you may not know the weight or the dimensions. You want the mail center to finish the transaction. So that's the capability in the system as well. So say we wanted to look up that return receipt. I can just go to my apps and view, and I can simply put CLM. I'll use one, I'll be lazy, and the system will automatically look up that transaction for you. So here's the one we just did, John DeLong. So if I want to look up the signature, I can look it up directly in the application. So where it would show would be under proof of delivery. So it'll show right in this white space right here, the signature. And let me show you what that looks like in PowerPoint because we don't actually transact with the carrier. By the way, I didn't cover this, and I apologize. The system can generate a firm mailing book electronically for firms who use that for certificate of delivery and acceptance by the Postal Service, which the Postal Service round stamps. So to look at the signature, this is a screen in the application I was just at. You see the signature here. If you want to email it, download the PDF, you can do all that on this system. And then voila, here is the return receipt electronically PDF that comes back from the Postal Service. So it's on their letterhead. It's the date of issuance, date and time and address of delivery with the article number, the embedded signature, and then your client matter number would show on the document. Additionally, it's saved in the system as a PDF. We can name the PDF, should you choose, by the reference field. So the CLM1234, it would be CLM1234.pdf. So if you wanted to download those PDFs and upload them in your client matter management system, you can certainly do that. The benefit return receipt, I think, is pretty clear. You can do a return receipt in seconds versus minutes, 3 to 4 minutes versus a handful of seconds. You're eliminating all the manual processes. You're eliminating any manual or expensive forms you may be using. There's a couple of companies out there that have forms that have to go in a laser printer and print on the forms. They can run anywhere from $40 to $1.40 per piece and things of that nature. Everything's transmitted electronically to the post office. So everything's an electronic transaction. So it's a very secure process of return receipt. And it does save $1.25. So there is a nice savings. Again, the Post Office offering savings in a work share world. So very beneficial around that piece as well. Discard that. So one other item I'd like to show you within the application under the view world is any kind of tracking capability. So if I want to look up a package for Hazel or a client matter number of any choice, I can simply do that. So if I wanted to look up this FedEx package, I can look it up. So I see who sent it, where they sent it from. I see it's going to Hazel Gardens in beautiful Mount Penn, Pennsylvania. I see the cost of the base cost. I see my accessorial fees. I see all that. And if there was no tracking information available yet, I can track it directly through the carrier. So all I do is hit track package, and the system will automatically copy paste that tracking number over into FedEx and track directly through FedEx. If it's UPS, it'll track via UPS, DHL, US Postal, US Postal. So obviously you can't find it because we didn't complete the transaction. But you see how simple and easy it is to look up that information. The last item I did want to show, I apologize, I thought that was it, is the reporting mechanism within the application. So it's got full electronic reporting capabilities. If you want to run an accounting report, account summary report, all your client matter spend for any particular period, maybe it's just a week or maybe it's just a day, or if you want it to run daily, you could set an automated export, and it can export that data into a CSV file. Thanks to Microsoft, CSV is the most common import of any system in the world today. So CSV can be used in every system in the SQL environment, that's for sure, in Microsoft world. So it can automatically export a client matter bill back data file, and it can be just picked up on your side to bill electronically instead of doing manually. So pretty simple, pretty easy to run those types of reports or have the reports run automatically. Another nice piece is return receipt tracking. So if I wanted to see every return receipt I was still pending to get back from the Postal Service, in the manual world, you literally have to key on USPS Track and Confirm, one article number at a time, and hit enter and look at the tracking. In this application, we monitor all the tracking. So if you wanted to look at the return receipts for the last week and where they are with the Postal Service, you could simply run the report or have it run automatically. It'll show you every return receipt you're pending to get back. Now, again, we don't transact with the Postal Service, but I'll show you the headers involved. So what you see here is you see the article number, the date it was sent, who was it sent to, the organization it was sent to, full address information. You also see who processed it, and you'll see the reference field too. So you have the data, so you can do with it as you wish, but you have the users are here, any cost center chargebacks they used, the exception date from the post office, and what's the current status from the Postal Service. So once you have the data, you can filter it any way you want. So if you want to look up specific client matter numbers, just filter and then select the client matter numbers you want to look up. So you can research very quickly in the application. The same can be done for the carriers and their effectiveness as far as being on time. So if you wanted to run a carrier performance report on all guaranteed products with those carriers, it will show you every package that did not get delivered on time based upon the guarantee. So you say all carriers, all services, all states, late, true. And the system will run a report that will show you every single package that did not arrive on time. So very effective product from a standpoint of outbound, producing outbound, rate shopping it, looking to least cost alternative, but also monitoring the carrier's performance in the delivery world, ensuring they made their delivery objectives overall. So that's a good tour of the product overall. So I appreciate your patience with that. I hope you found it to be beneficial. So in wrapping up, from a solution standpoint, shipping's complex. The carriers have not made it easy to understand their rates and services they use. They're constantly changing the rules, as you saw when the mid-year change. Now we're coming up on the holidays, so you'll see a surcharge from UPS for any shipping during the Thanksgiving holiday. It's an extra charge per package in the overnight and ground world. It applies to all people and all companies, not selective. And they'll see the same charge right before the holiday in December. Same thing. They'll surcharge for a week before. No matter what you're sending or who you are, everybody pays the surcharge. So Employee Carrier Management Solution really helps you standardize the workflow and processes. It helps you eliminate non-value-added carrier fees and reduce overall spend for your client and for that orphan in-house account. It provides cost controls, capturing all costs, and it provides, opportunity to reduce your compliance. It allows your administrators and your paralegals really to do their tasks inside, not carrier activity, and not manually writing up return receipts and so forth. It automates the billing processes from a client billing standpoint. It automates storage and return receipt. And I know, having been to several ALA events, automation is a key thing within your industry. Obviously, the more you automate, go electronic, you're reducing your internal operating expenses and the costs. So pretty important around that piece as well. So in the end, the automation piece really will make sense for a lot of organizations. From a standpoint of what we offer as an organization, we greatly appreciate your time. We're going to go on the Q&A now, but I want you to know we also manage inbound packages as well. So we have solutions around inbound package management, and that is also a cloud or SaaS-based solution that does that as well. So we have a full portfolio of mailing products as well as software solutions here at Pitney Bowes. So with that, Stephanie and Regina, I'm going to turn it back over to you for some questions, which would be great to have.
Great. Hey, thanks, Tom. And that was a wonderful presentation, so thanks again. So we do have a bunch of questions coming in, so please don't be shy. And I know you've already answered a few of them, but you know what? I'll reiterate. Somebody wrote, does the product have an easy way to capture shipping costs for each account or cost center, and how does that happen?
Yep. So as I demonstrated, you can ensure that folks have to put in a cost center or client matter number in or an account code in before they can progress, and it has to be accurate. And then obviously I've showed you the reporting mechanisms within the application, which can be totally automated to dump out a file whenever you want. into any shared drive in your system, and then you pick it up on your side, and you have an electronic feed to bill very efficiently, electronically, and you can obviously bill more than once a week if you're doing it today with Carrier Bills. You're speeding up your billing process overall. So great question, Steph. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Hey, before I start to bring up some other questions, I just want to remind everybody that there's a poll that's coming up soon. And after you're completing the poll, if you can just close that poll module by clicking on the arrowhead on the left of the word polling. Okay? Great, thank you. So here comes another one. As a user, do I have the authority to run the report, or does the administrator have the authority?
That's completely up to your organization.
Okay.
Yeah, that's completely up to your organization. If you want to give authority to just the administrators or department heads, that's fine. That's up to the company. You have the controls of the application as far as user access. So we give you full user access controls to either allow folks to do things or not allow them. Great question.
Okay. Here's another one. If I want to run a report on certain client numbers or a handful of a few numbers, can I isolate, like the query, to just pull certain ones?
Yeah, that's a great question. Today you cannot isolate the query. However, I'll tell you, it runs very, very quickly. So you're not going to be watching it, an hourglass flip for, 5-10 minutes. So it's a very quick reporting functionality within the application today. So there's no spooling or things like that. So once you have the data, you can filter it any way you want. So you want to filter to specific client matter numbers or a few client matter numbers or cases, you can certainly do so. Today we're giving you the full amount of data, and we give you full access to filter that data. But I appreciate the suggestion, and it's something I'll take upstream with our development team. So thanks for that.
Yeah. A few more are coming in. So how does this product work with people who work out of their home? Can they print shipping labels and even stamps from their desktop? How does this work?
Yep, 100% correct. So anybody ever needs is internet access, and they need clearance into the system by your organization. I've been remote with Pitney Bowes for 6 years now. So I tend to sometimes have to ship a couple things around or print some postage. So I have full access to do it, sure. So you can give anybody access remotely. Think about folks that travel within the organization. They can have remote access. So if I'm in the Marriott, I just change my ship from address from Boston to the address of the Marriott, and that's what you want to do, so you're rating properly from point to point. The last thing you want to do is be in San Diego shipping to Los Angeles, but you've left your address as Boston, so you're paying to go across the entire country when you're only going within the state. So it does even allow you to change your ship from address information as a user on the fly. Great question.
Really good. Okay, we have a few more coming in. How many people could use the software at the same time, and does each user have a unique login?
Great question again. Yeah. So each user does have a unique, easy for me to say stuff, unique login and your unique password as well. So it identifies the senders. So every transaction is identified not only by the receiver, but the sender. So we can look at it from both views, by the way. So from that standpoint, it does require a user ID and password, which most firms would absolutely demand. The other piece was users. It's unlimited users of the application, unlimited locations. So it's a transaction-based cloud model. So it's just number of transactions is how it's modeled. So there is no licensing by site. There is no licensing by user. We've eliminated that because to truly be an enterprise product, ladies and gentlemen, you don't want to be burdened by having to buy a license every time you onboard an employee or move the license from this employee who left to this employee. Nobody wants to deal with that. Although there's companies that still do it that are pretty big companies, we've built a model where it's unlimited users, unlimited sites. It's just transaction-based. And a transaction is a carrier label and an e-return receipt. Doesn't even include stamps. So great question.
All right. Let's see here. Are we able to see what each person is spending on shipping and stamp printing? And how do we do this?
Yep, 100%
like each
correct.
individual person at that organization is kind of what they're asking.
Yep, that's a great question. So if I want to drill down to individual users, and if you're looking at my screen, I can look at all users here. So I can come here and say, well, show me the month of September, and I just want to see, one particular user, or I can look at the entire year, as you see here. So I can scroll through and show, okay, give me the entire year of activity let me find somebody I want to look at, Steph. So let's look at Chris Flathammer. So if I want to look at all his spend, I can then just look at all Chris Flathammer's spend in the application. So I'll be able to see everything he has done. Let me get my Microsoft license upgraded. Talk about licensing, huh? So I can look at where he's located, where he is shipped from. I can look at all the costs. I can see he sent out, one piece first-class mail, 3 FedEx grounds, another package, first-class parcel, UPS ground packages, 6. You see all the data. So you see exactly what they're doing. You can also take and look even deeper and look at it from a standpoint of who they're physically sending to. So you have both capabilities in the application, but awesome question.
That's really cool. Okay, and the last question I have is if I have regional and same-day delivery carriers or other carriers, do their rates and logos also appear on the rate screen that you showed us?
Yeah, so regional carriers support it in the product. So today, and believe me, the carriers are knocking on our doors to get on. It does support Eastern Connection, Diacom. Eastern Connections on the East Coast was bought by Diacom, so sometimes people know both names. Speedy, OnTrack, Pitt, Ohio, LSO are all supported in the application today. The same-day delivery company Deliv, which is the Uber of packages, which if you haven't looked into is a darn good company. Female minority owned, about 5-6 years old, based out of Chicago. Done a nice job. They're in 55 major metropolitans, but they're also in some surprisingly smaller cities that are growing. Columbus, Ohio is an example. They're in Columbus. I found out the other day doing a demonstration for a client there. So Deliv is in the system. As far as local carriers, that's an expansion to the model we're looking at today. I can't timeline it for you, but there may be opportunities, sure, around looking at local carriers and carriers as well within the application. The key component is everything is a web services call. By that I mean there are no rates in the system. It just goes out and looks at the rates of those carriers with your accounting information. So it automatically pulls the rates in every single time it transacts. The other benefit of that is this. If UPS or FedEx walked in this morning and said, hey, we see you got some volume movements here, we want to increase your discount, as soon as they put it in the system at UPS and FedEx, this system is accessing it immediately. So any changes to the discounts are immediately accessed. There's no rates to maintain in the application at all. And the same thing for the address database from address correction, nothing for you to maintain at all. We do see this as a growth product. This isn't a one and done. We've already had 4 rev releases since the product released. Similar to what we do with Sensory Track Your Online, our inbound solution, we give all the new functionality to all of our customers who have the system. So everybody gets the new functionality. So as we continue to add feature and functionality, everybody gets it automatically.
That's wonderful. This has been a fantastic webinar, and thank you for answering all of those questions, Tom. You're definitely a wealth of information. Any last words?
I just want to thank the ALA members. You guys are great people. I've been at your conventions and I've been to these webinars, but always great questions, all great attention to the matter. Let us look at this for you. Let us help your organization become a lot more efficient. As you see, it's complex. So a solution like this or similar to this really can make a big difference for your firm, automating the process and so forth. But thanks for your valuable time. Have a great day, and Steph, back to you.
Yes, great. Thank you. And thank you, Regina and the ALA. We appreciate your time, and we definitely value this time with you.
All right, great. This was fantastic. This actually concludes today's webcast. Thank you all for attending. The recording will be available at legalmarketplace.alanet.org. We will send all registrants an email tomorrow with this link, and please visit our event calendar to sign up for future webcasts.